Do you want to raise your child to be a good human? Here are some tips you should avoid. Here are that 5 parenting things you should avoid to make your kid a good human. Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel. Parenting is not just about providing food, clothing, and education for your child. It's about nurturing, guiding, and shaping their character. It's about teaching them how to be good human beings. But sometimes, even with the best intentions, parents might unknowingly engage in behaviors that can have a negative impact on their child's development. They say things, react in ways, or use certain strategies that can potentially harm their child's self-esteem, confidence, and overall mental health. This is why it's crucial to be aware of these behaviors and consciously avoid them. It's not just about doing the right things, but also about not doing the wrong ones. In this video, we're going to share 5 tips on what to avoid when raising your child. So buckle up and get ready for some insightful parenting advice. Avoid comparison. The first tip is to avoid comparison. You see, comparison is a trap that's all too easy to fall into. But it's important to remember that when you compare your child to others, you're not just setting up an unrealistic standard for them to live up to. You're also inadvertently sowing the seeds of jealousy, inferiority, and even sibling rivalry. Think about it. When a child constantly hears about how their sibling, cousin, or friend is faring better than them, it's natural for them to feel a sense of inferiority. This can lead to a decreased self-confidence and self-esteem. They might start to believe that they are not good enough, and that's a thought no parent would want their child to harbor. Jealousy is another emotion that can stem from comparison. Yes, a little bit of healthy competition is great for motivation. But when it crosses over into jealousy, it can become a destructive force that eats away at the child's happiness and well-being. And then there's sibling rivalry. Comparing siblings to each other might seem like an effective way to motivate them to do better. But in reality, it can create a rift between them, damaging their bond. Instead of working together, they might end up competing against each other, harboring resentment and carrying a sense of animosity that can last a lifetime. But you might wonder, how do you encourage your child to strive for excellence without comparing them to others? Well, the answer is simple. Celebrate their individuality. Recognize their strengths and encourage them to build upon them. Acknowledge their weaknesses and guide them on how to overcome them. Set realistic expectations and help them achieve their personal best. Teach them that it's not about being better than someone else, but about being the best version of themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how they stack up against others, but about how much they've grown from where they started. Remember, every child is unique and should be appreciated for their individuality. Avoid scolding. The second tip is to avoid scolding. Now, we've all been there, haven't we? Our patience wears thin and we end up scolding our child. But it's worth considering the impact of our words and tone on their young minds. When children are constantly scolded, it can lead to a buildup of anger within them. They may start to feel that they are always in the wrong and that their actions and thoughts are not valued. This internalized anger can manifest in various ways, from acting out to withdrawing from social interactions. It's a heavy burden for a child to bear, and it can have serious implications for their mental health. Scolding can also lead to detachment. Imagine always being on the receiving end of harsh words. Over time, this could make a child feel unloved or unwanted. They might start pulling away, preferring solitude to family time. The joy of childhood could be replaced with feelings of isolation and unhappiness. But here's the thing, we all make mistakes, don't we? And children are no different. They're learning about the world, testing boundaries, and figuring out who they are. So when they slip up, instead of scolding, let's try understanding. Let's try to see the world from their perspective, to understand why they did what they did. Instead of raising our voices, let's raise our understanding. Let's replace harsh words with kind ones, criticism with constructive feedback. Let's show our children that we respect their thoughts and feelings even when we don't agree with them. Remember, communication is key. It's not about letting bad behavior slide, but addressing it in a way that promotes growth and understanding. It's about guiding our children, helping them navigate this complex world, and teaching them to learn from their mistakes. So, the next time you feel your patience wearing thin, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your child is learning and growing, and then communicate with them in a respectful and understanding way. After all, we're not just raising children, we're raising the next generation of thinkers, doers, and dreamers. It's important to communicate with your child in a respectful and understanding manner. Avoid calling them lazy. The third tip is to avoid labeling your child as lazy. This simple sentence carries a lot of weight, and it's something we need to carefully unpack. When we call a child lazy, we're not just commenting on a single action or behavior. We're attaching a label, a judgment, to their character. This can have profound effects on their self-esteem and can hinder their growth. Let's understand this better. When a child hears the word lazy attached to their name repeatedly, they might start believing it. They might think, "I'm lazy, that's just who I am." And this belief can limit their potential. They might stop trying to change or improve, thinking their efforts would be futile. This is why it's so important to avoid using such labels. Now you might be thinking, "But my child does things slowly. They procrastinate or seem disinterested. What should I do?" The answer lies in how you address the issue. Instead of scolding or taunting them, take a moment to sit down and talk. Explain with love that it's important to be active and engaged. Encourage your child to work with agility, to find joy in accomplishing tasks, and to take pride in their work. Remember, children are not born with an innate sense of time management or efficiency. These are skills they learn from us, their parents and caregivers. It's our responsibility to teach them, to guide them, and to do so with patience and understanding. Let's also remember that everyone has different paces. What might seem slow to us might be comfortable for the child, and that's perfectly okay. Let's focus on teaching our children the value of effort, dedication, and consistency rather than rushing them. So the next time you feel the urge to call your child lazy, pause. Think about the impact of your words. Choose to encourage, guide, and inspire instead. Remember, patience and understanding can go a long way in nurturing a child's potential. Avoid hitting and using abusive language. The last two tips are to avoid hitting and using abusive language. When it comes to nurturing our children, it's crucial to remember that the seeds we plant today will bear fruit tomorrow. As parents, we must ensure that we're planting seeds of love, understanding, and respect, rather than sowing fear or resentment. This brings us to the importance of avoiding physical punishment and verbal abuse. Physical punishment, such as hitting, can create an atmosphere of fear and distrust. It's a short-term solution that might momentarily halt an undesired behavior, but it doesn't teach children how to make better choices in the future. Instead, it can make them fear you, and fear often leads to lying as children try to avoid punishment. It can also lead to a cycle of aggression and violence, as children learn to associate violence with power and control. On the other hand, verbal abuse, including harsh words and insults, can have a profound impact on a child's mental health. It can damage their self-esteem, breed anxiety and depression, and lead to a host of other psychological issues. Children are like sponges, absorbing everything around them, and when they're constantly exposed to abusive language, they start believing those words. They start seeing themselves as unworthy, incapable, or inadequate, which can hold them back in life. So, what can we do instead? It's simple. Express your feelings in a calm and controlled manner. It's okay to be frustrated or disappointed, but it's not okay to lash out at your child. If you're feeling angry, take a moment to cool down before addressing the issue. Use this as an opportunity to teach your child about feelings, about making mistakes, and about learning from them. Instead of shouting or hitting, explain to your child what they did wrong, why it's wrong, and how they can make it right. This approach not only fosters a healthy parent-child relationship, but also helps your child develop problem-solving skills, empathy, and respect for others. Remember, our children learn from us. They mirror our actions, our words, and our attitudes. Let's set an example of love, respect, and understanding. Let's make sure that the legacy we leave behind is one of kindness and compassion. Instead, express your feelings in a calm and controlled manner, and always maintain respect for your child. Conclusion. To sum up, here are the 5 things to avoid when raising your child. First, avoid comparison. It's important to remember that every child is unique and should be appreciated for their individuality. Comparing your child to others can lead to feelings of jealousy and inferiority. Second, refrain from scolding. While discipline is necessary, it's crucial to handle mistakes with understanding and patience instead of scolding. Thirdly, don't label your child as lazy. If they do things at their own pace, encourage them to improve rather than taunting them. Fourth, avoid hitting. Physical punishment can instill fear and create distance. It's better to explain their mistakes with love and patience. Lastly, never use abusive language. Words can deeply affect a child's psyche, so choose your words wisely, even in anger. Remember, raising a child is a journey filled with love, patience, and understanding. Avoiding these behaviors can help you raise a good human being. Raising a child with love, patience, and understanding is a journey worth taking. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and follow the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.